in between 2 and 3 minutes. You know what that means. It must be time for more Follow the Money with Mitch Moss and Paulie Howard on Sirius XM 204.
Picking up steam now here, South Point Sportsbook, as we continue. Sirius XM channel 204, VSiN, and on Nesson in Boston. There we go. Jay Rood joins us now from MGM Racing Sports. Kind enough to come in studio earlier here on day one of the Madness. Good to see you, Jay. How are you?
Good. Thanks, guys. Thanks for having me here. It's a tough act to follow with Derek and Mike, but we'll see what we can do.
Good for downtown Las Vegas.
It is. It's great. I love seeing downtown come alive. You know, I mean, being a local, I don't tend to drift off my path to home and work too much. But, yeah, we like going down there. My wife and I, when we got friends in town, I almost always go down there instead of navigating the madness of the Strip.
So, in all your years here in Las Vegas, for the Madness, the first 2 days, the first 4 days, we talk about this with everybody. Is it bigger now than the Super Bowl? Is it on par with the Super Bowl? Where does this rank overall for an overall weekend?
The activity level, it's by far bigger than the Super Bowl. Transactionally, it's going to be gigantic. I mean, at the Mirage alone, which is probably the property that writes the most tickets for us, we'll write, like 100,000 tickets this weekend. Over these 4 days. I mean, when you think about it, that's a lot of dang tickets.
Yeah, it is.
The riders are, they're by Sunday night they're ready to lynch me, because 12, 14-hour shifts and it's just day after day. It's like Groundhog's Day, every day.
Yeah,
you just wake up and do it all over again. But no, it's a huge weekend for us, and the handle, over those 4 days, it'll be higher than the Super Bowl this year by far. I think because, the Super Bowl was a little bit down. Mm-hmm. But, just look at that line. It's 7 o'clock, 6:30 in the morning, and they're, 8, 10 deep here at South Point. I'm sure we're the same at the Mirage I called earlier, and all windows are open. We're cranking, ready to go. People are securing their real estate like they are here.
This day always makes me think of what a college football playoff would look like if we had at least 8 teams and they all played the first 4 games on like one Saturday.
Yeah,
I can't even imagine what it would be like.
It would be like the old bowl days. Remember that? I mean, New Year's Eve and New Year's Day was fantastic because we had 9 or 10 games over the course of of 6-hour period on New Year's Day. It was great, but everything's been stretched out, and it's good in its own way, but it's not. It doesn't create the same kind of buzz.
You get all the big players and a lot of the tourists that stay at your properties. Any requests? Anyone saying I want to wire some money in here? Have you seen anything substantial yet?
No. I mean, the first round, we don't normally get like the huge bets the first couple of weeks. I mean, we'll get 100,000, maybe 200. As we get in Sweet 16 and then down to the Final Four, that's when guys will start requesting $400,000, $500,000 bets on these games. And as things are going this year, and sports wagering is getting so much attention, might see $1 million bet come in on the Final Four this year.
Really?
So we'll see. That's just it's kind of grown in that popularity, and the activity level is definitely towards the masses. The first four days, it's just the average Joe guy coming in. Our average ticket's probably going to be, I don't know, $130 to $140 probably this weekend, so that's pretty strong.
That's very good, yeah.
We probably average about 78, 70, 79 right now, just sort of like in pedestrian mode, but it's going to be real busy. What's
the biggest bet that you would take during the first 4 days? If somebody wanted to put down 300,000, 400,000, 500,000, would you actually say, okay, if we need it, we'll take it?
Oh yeah, no, we'll take that. I mean, it's just it doesn't happen to show up in these matchups as much. People start to get more confident in the teams that they're backing as they, the quality of play sort of matches up a little bit better, which I would actually be a proponent of the opposite, right? I mean, this is the weakest period of time right now, but there's so many other games, people spread a little bit more, a guy might come in for the weekend and he might bet 6 or 7 games for 100,000 each rather than, 2 or 300,000.
Okay, so you're the guy to ask. You can speak to this. The appetite and the instant gratification, and you and your crew, A+, you have every game prop first to 15 points, and you can parlay them. When did you notice parlay? Unbelievable. You can parlay.
That's incredible.
Round of A+.
I got to see some of the decisions we have on these, on these first. Yeah. I mean, yeah.
When did it take off?
Bigger than the game sometimes in some categories. Oh, it took off. Yeah, I mean, it's, I knew we had something going when one of our lawyers that I work with, he's now retired, he's actually going to be coming in, Mark Russell. He was like, you know what? My guys that come and visit every year are hooked on this first to 15. He goes, and the fact that you let them parlay it, he goes, that's almost criminal. And I said, yeah, but I mean, it's the perfect bet orchestrated with the broadcast, because the 15, they always take a break right before somebody goes to 15. It just creates this amount of drama in the room that they start to lose their minds, especially if a team's on momentum. The dog is making a move, or a dog's got out to a quick start, like a 12-4, Everyone goes, oh, they're cashing, I mean, I can't tell you how many times the favorites come back and hit the 15 before the dog. But at 15, the dog has probably, 12% edge to get there, because, the starting 5 for the dog is the key. If you've got, juniors and seniors or a couple of really good guards, they're much more dangerous than if the team is, like a Calipari, starting all freshmen or something like that. And they have the opportunity to get there. And when you're talking about, these dogs getting 6-1, 7-1, maybe sometimes, in these higher seeds, money line, now you're parlaying it to a couple of things. Or, a lot of guys do round robins where, if you catch 3 out of 4 or even 3 out of 5, you're doing pretty good. You're going to cash your ticket in for a little bit of ROI.
I love that idea.
You blew my mind. Bigger decisions than some of the games.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
my God.
I mean, you literally, we'll lose a first to 15. I mean, and we win too, but I mean, generally our screen always looks like lose a ton or win a little. I mean, that's just the way it goes on these because of the prices that you're using. But mid six-figure first to 15 is not uncommon.
That is awesome. And as Paul said, though, instant gratification. It's like the first periods in hockey that have taken off so much this year. It just, people want like 25 minutes, bada bing, bada. I want to know right now if I'm going to win my bet or not. Yeah,
I mean, a lot of guys are betting it. First halves were really popular, but this just is like insanely popular, because if you bet the game, you almost are automatically going to make this, especially if you're betting the dog. If you like the dog at all, you're going to make this bet. But the weird thing is, even if you aren't betting the dog for the game, if you're betting the favorite for the game, they will bet the dog for the first 15 just because they just can't pass up the juicy plus money on it.
Jay Rood, MGM, our guest, Nesson, Fubo TV, VSiN, Follow the Money, Paulie and Mitch. Will any 1 seed be behind or tied with a 16 at half?
Yeah.
Yes, 3-1. That is awesome.
Yes, 3-1. I think, a little bit of value, obviously, at minus 360 on the no, because I think we've only cashed it once where a 1 seed was behind. Believe that was last year with Virginia. We've come close to it being tied. I mean, 1 point up a few times. I think it was Duke against somebody 2 or 3 years ago. But yeah, they're 1 seeds for a reason. So, but the other 5-12. That's the one that got started putting up, because everybody started talking about that about 5-6 years ago, how dangerous that matchup is. And of course, again, we've got the Oregon, who's likely to close as the favorite in that matchup.
Yep.
Probably so. And that always blows the average Joe's mind. I mean, that's like when they see a team that's in the rankings, they're 17 and the other team's not even ranked and the other team's favored. They're like, how can that be?
Right.
I mean, there's a lot of things that go into it besides a bunch of guys, saying that this team should be X, Y, or Z.
That is up. Will all 5 seeds win at MGM? Yes, plus 360. How about this? The sum of all seeds in the final 4. Over under 11.5. I think it opened $1.10. Under now minus 230.
Yeah. We're a little off on that one. I mean, we were bantering back and forth on what we should do. We had 12.5 last year. It gets basically bet straight under for the most part. But over the last 5 or 6 years, a 6 or 7 seed has shown up. And
right.
I mean, there's been very few that look super chalky. Although I don't see Cinderella showing up in this tournament. My bracket is as chalky as it gets.
I'm with you on that.
I have 3 1s going with Michigan. So but you can make a case for a Virginia Tech getting a really great guard back at a 4 coming in. They could. I mean, I could see them upsetting. They're not going to back down from Duke. Iowa State is sort of coming back into the form that everyone kind of thought they were going to be early in the season. They could come through that bracket.
Sure.
But it does look rather chalky as you get down towards the end.
Yeah, you can make a case for some of these teams that are like seeded 4, 5, or 6, but I promise you, I do not think this every single year. I think this year the 1s and the 2s are just ultra strong, and their paths might actually be easier than normal. Like I know last year for a fact, and I did not think the 1s and 2s were that great. And I had Cincinnati at 125-1. I thought as a 2 seed, come on.
Yeah.
But I think this year the way it's set up, the 1s and 2s look pretty good.
Yeah, and and predominantly the community, the sharp community, because that's who's betting most of these props early on. As soon as we put it up, love the under in that particular matchup. We were going to go to 10.5, but I thought that's really a short price, for this particular prop. But they pounded it under. I mean, we took a ton of money. It's just been a straight one-way prop at this point. But we might see the average Joes when they start showing up and taking that plus money on the over, just because everybody always thinks that Cinderella is going to show up, and they're
Sure.
like, oh, all it takes is a 9 to get in there, and I'm good.
It's like the opposite of the NFL weekend or any NFL weekend where the public is here rooting in every single dog, as opposed to the NFL. The public is going to put in these 5-team parlays, laying 11 points with a team on the road.
Yeah, well, laying the minus 1,200 on the money line.
Yeah, right, exactly.
Trying to manufacture an even money parlay out of 4 teams, if they can do that. But, yeah, I mean, and like I've said, the Super Bowl and all that, that's more an event. This is all about betting. I mean, these 4 days, if you're here, and you're here for this, you're not, checking out Hell's Kitchen, or you're not walking the strip, and you're in the book, your butt's planted in a seat for 12 hours probably out of the day, and you're betting with both hands, and
Yep.
it's about that but it's also a good event right now, so that you can highlight we're having Game Sense ambassadors on our property, and this is Responsible Gaming Month too, and that's something that everyone needs to be aware of, that
Yep.
it is good to stop and take a break, and these 4 days, it's I always tell everybody, as a bookmaker, I have to put everything up, but as a player, you get to be selective, and that's where you don't have to bet every game. Even though guys come here and they come for recreational, right? We have a group of guys at the Mirage that show up every year. They've been here since the Mirage is open, and they bring a box or a bag of hats of the teams that they're going to back the first round. They get together, and I don't know if they all live in the same area, but they all figure out who they're going to bet, and they all wear the hat of the team that they're going to bet, for that game. I mean, it's great. It is a great, bonding, fun
Sure.
experience for guys that drift across the country. Maybe they went to school together, come together. That's what you see a lot of. So, but it's a fun time for everybody.
Let's follow the money here on Sirius XM 204 and on NESN now in Boston. First week here for the show to be on in that market, and you guys, of course, have an MGM property in Springfield. How's that?
Good. It's going good. It's amazing how quickly we got that property up and running. I'm hearing nothing but great things. We're hopeful that we can bring sports betting to that region to them, and be able to put an MGM book in there with Play MGM Mobile maybe as well. But all reports coming out of there are great. I haven't had an opportunity to visit the property yet, but when I make my East Coast swing, going to see Borgata and stuff, we'll get up there and check it out. And we're also going to have, Empire is going to be rolled into our portfolio in New York, and Northfield just recently came on. So we've got a lot of new properties that are coming on board, and hopefully they're going to be on the map with sports gambling coming.
Very cool. And last thing here, very quickly. So if it does get past legalized sports betting in that state in Massachusetts, you guys can just go basically flip a switch. Like, hey, we can go. Let's do it right now.
Yeah, it's not quite a switch, but yeah, I mean, we've got a blueprint. We've done
Very
it.
soon.
And I mean, we opened 3 books in 45 days last summer, so we can get it done.
Awesome to have you in studio today.
Great.
I appreciate it, guys. Thanks a lot.
Great
Yeah.
work.
We'll get to our in-pocket plays coming up next here on VSiN.
More of Follow the Money with Mitch Moss and Paulie Howard is on the way. But don't get left out on VSiN's new Point Spread Weekly. Find out more at VSiN.com.